All right, and right where we left off, I mean, it was a minute ago we pushed stop. Let's keep going. We're on brain imbalance. Mental schisms is where we left off. Mark, take it away.
Form of imbalance.
Okay, I'm kidding. I don't know them like that. I'm not that familiar with them. That joke's not appropriate. See, even I think there's a limit to humor, and engaging in a familiarity that's not there, I think, is one of the biggest problems social media has. Do I list him as the teacher that brought me to this point? Yes. I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. If I got to meet him, I'd be humble and shake his hand. That's it. I don't believe in the cult of personality. I don't place him on a pedestal. At the very beginning, an expert aggregator of information with a backstory and history strong enough to support the reasons why he's saying it. Just in case you ever wonder why we're here.
Is ultimately generating a psychopathic master. Whether the activity, the behavior is, and not actually gauging for yourself whether the activity, the behavior is moral or not. Okay? And it creates a willing slave. This form of imbalance is ultimately generating a willing slave, whereas this form of imbalance is ultimately generating a psychopathic master. And they're all forms of mind control. It's just another aspect of how mind control works. The propagators of mind control are just doing this to keep that imbalance present in one form or another. They don't even care which it is. As long as they have some that are imbalanced toward one direction and some imbalanced toward the other direction, that's how the dynamic plays off against itself. And you have a world that is continue to be kept under lockdown. So let's look at the worldview schism that goes hand in hand with the brain schism or the mental schism. And again, worldview is exactly what it says. How do you view the world? How do you view yourself in it? How do you view others in it? Well, when there's chronic left brain dominance, the worldview that emerges is one of randomness. And again, this is a hallmark of scientism. The world is this grand cosmic accident. All right? The whole universe is a grand accident. There's no purpose. Right? There's no creator. Everything just magically manifested on its own for no reason from a single singularity, a single point in space-time for no reason. You give me that one, and I'll tell you everything else that happened after that. But you got to give me that one, you know? And I have some bridges to sell you, you know? So, you know, there's no underlying intelligence in nature. Nature is dead. That's what this worldview is about. Nature is dead. It's a dead thing. It's a mechanized machine that is there for no reason. Okay? There's no such thing as the spirit at all. No such thing as spiritual dimension. No such thing as natural law, certainly. Because for one to accept natural law, well, where does it come from? You know, I ask people like whether they accept that natural law exists or that, you know, there's actual objective truth and morality, and like 2/3 of people don't accept it. They don't believe that it exists. They don't think there is objective reality and objective truth and objective morality. You know, they think it's all relative.
There, now I can indict my friend. Because I have a friend, we played in a band together, and I am now ignoring every post and connection and everything he wants. No, I'm never going to think about re-releasing our music digitally to get in on the game. Never. And if Schmitty goes for it, I'll probably say no. It's outdated, it's done, it's time to move on. But he believes, like so many others, that it's just rich people's faults. And I learned that there are two groups up there. The control and the worked hard. The nepotism busted their ass. It's not all bad. And damn straight you should be able to get whatever you can get if you did the work. But he's just positive that people who have more should give more. But the problem is the people who have less keep taking what's not theirs. So they don't have the moral ground to stand on. Neither end does. But it's always some other human's fault, never the person in the mirror. And all of my old bass player's faults are his faults, because he's still doing the same thing he did 30 years ago. What do you expect to change? Sorry, bro, you're just insane. Just a fact.
People don't accept it. They don't believe that it exists. They don't think there is objective reality and objective truth and objective morality. You know, they think it's all relative and we get to make it up. I've actually done a psychological, small psychological profiling or study, you know, just asking people this question at random and collecting results and analyzing them. We're at about 2/3 of people who are moral relativists and believe that truth is relative also, that it's not objective, okay? Now, you ask the same people, do you believe in karma? 88, almost 90% of people believe karma is real and it exists. So I'm like, I can't believe this. You're going to tell me that there's no such thing as a real difference between right and wrong. They're constructs in the human mind is what they think, right? And simultaneously holding in their mind the idea that karma exists. Well, I asked them the question, what put karma in place then? You believe it exists. What force created it? What made it? What put it in place? And they have no answer for that. You know, they intuitively believe karma exists.
Yeah, because it just is. Because it's cute and it feels good with their rainbow colors and crystals. The other one feels like purpose. And hey, if you have no purpose, you certainly don't want to find purpose in anything. Right? I mean, come on. That one's simple. That one don't take a genius. They want them all to be like, come on, I want to sit under a tree. Now, hey, I'm so close to I want to sit under the tree and smoke weed group. I own my own shortcomings. I don't ever do that because it turns out that would, you know, align me with those I don't want to be aligned with. But I can empathize with some of the thoughts. But yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to me.
Karma.
Yeah.
88, almost 90% of people believe karma is real and it exists.
And over here on this channel, the karma is just another way of talking about frequencies, energies, manifestations, and what's that, the threefold? Basically, if you do something good, you're going to get back good energy. It can rebound at you. There's some negative with that too, because balance to frequency, harmonies, and energies. What's that? That is charged. Yeah, I really should turn all that off. Sorry, a little distracted, having a little more fun. Like I said, I could join them under the tree. Their crystals scare me away. My biggest problem is I do believe in all this. And it's a shame so few grasp the concepts. But his point here is so valid because they believe in the happy shit that their weirdo friends told them to believe in. But that scary shit their grandfathers believed in has no value.
That it's not objective. Okay? Now, you ask the same people, do you believe in karma? 88, almost 90% of people believe karma is real and it exists. So I'm like, I can't believe this. You're going to tell me that there's no such thing as a real difference between right and wrong. They're constructs in the human mind is what they think, right? And simultaneously holding in their mind the idea that karma exists. Well, I asked them the question, what put karma in place then? You believe it exists. What force created it? What made it? What put it in place? And they have no answer for that. You know, they intuitively believe karma exists, but can't answer where did it come from, because that would involve a creator. And somebody in left brain imbalance can't acknowledge that. you know? So to a left brain imbalanced person, there's no such thing as spiritual or natural law. It doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, all of existence has no purpose other than to continue its existence. See, survival is the highest aspiration to a left brain imbalanced individual. Right and wrong have no bearing. There's no point in even discussing it, okay? Because right's what's right for me if I'm super left brain imbalanced. Wrong is whatever affects me negatively, okay? It doesn't matter what's actually moral, okay? It's all subjective to a left brain imbalanced individual. And to them, nothing has any purpose. Since it's all a grand cosmic accident, how could there be a purpose for existence? Without a creator, who's going to create the purpose for it? You know? So it has no purpose other than to continue surviving. And again, that's right there is proof they're in the R complex, they're in the base brain. Survival is the highest goal. Survival is the only aspiration. Now, in Satanism, it's about as left brain imbalanced as it gets, folks. You know what their number one law is? Survival. Survival is the highest law. Okay, and we hear about this in Darwinism too. The ultimate purpose of the being is to continue to survive. I would highly debate that. I would highly disagree with that. There are laws higher than survival. Okay? But in Satanism, they simply refer to it as self-preservation. And that means preservation of systems of belief as well. Systems that are serving the self, the egoic self. They must continue to survive. Self-preservation as the highest law. That's the number one tenet of Satanism. And it doesn't matter who you need to step on to do it.
That crawl at the bottom, www, what on earth is happening? As always, we try to, that thing, go and get the arc, get his, the whole repository of information, support the work he's done so he can do more work.
Who you need to step on to get one up on somebody else. This is extreme left brain imbalance worldview. All of these characteristics in the randomness worldview are hallmarks of scientism, atheism, totalitarianism, and dark occultism. You could add to that list. You know, whether you refer to it as Satanism, dark Luciferianism, it doesn't make a difference. It's the hallmarks of the dark occult. On the other side, on the right.
Before we get to the other side, I do see where my the huge imbalance is. Personally, my inability to want to generate anything for myself puts me very much leaning into the slave side. But because it's I can't think of the big boy word for it. So but because it's mostly good, I don't see it as a slave think. I think I'm serving to do something good and then generate the return, thus manifesting good for myself through another source, work, effort, food. And I've talked about it a few times. But because I'm so trapped in leaving the safe location I've created for myself around me, that I'm definitely stuck in slave think. My rhetoric sounds like I'm a control freak, ready to go to war with whoever to get my ends, but really, in application, I'm stuck serving a purpose that's misplaced and only benefits others. Thus, it's stuck in the slave think mentality. Ouch. Now, what's ouch about that is realizing that's probably 100% accurate, but not knowing you're unwilling to just do something about it. That's why so many therapy bills go through the roof. Because technically you only needed to say it once, and there it is. Now it's on the table. It exists. It's been vocalized. It's been created in the physical, in the form of a word. It's out there. Now what are you going to do with it? Recreating that same moment doesn't get you anywhere. It keeps you trapped right there. I'm now trapped in realizing that helping others is still a slave mentality, keeping me locked in a perpetual state of safety. The safety is just the rewording of caged. Because freedom isn't safe. It could be, but it's not. Safety's not guaranteed. One thing about being imprisoned, technically Hollywood has lied to you. Their main mandate is to keep you alive and safe for the duration of your stay. And if you think that's bullshit, you better look up how the lawsuits work. Or when it goes south and they get caught. Because, yeah, the main deal is they just warehouse you safely. Well, that's really easy to turn into a Hallmark card that says, steady as she goes, live in your yard. Thus stuck in the slave think mentality. Damn, I didn't see this one coming.
Brain imbalanced side of the worldview, there's another worldview called determinism.
Okay, I gotta go get another smoke. Shit. It's like 15 minutes later. I had to go and talk this out with Ange to drive it home. You to get tired of hearing it. But yeah, that's a huge realization I'm going to have to work on because I might be trapped in a self-loathing state from a fear of success and an inability to manifest the desired future I could probably earn.
Okay, determinism is based in right brain imbalance. On the other side, on the right brain imbalanced side of the worldview, there's another worldview called determinism. Okay, determinism is based in right brain imbalance and is defined by, in general, helplessness, religiosity, and the dismissal of free will. This worldview will eventually lead to a society of blind order followers and willing slaves who accept their conditions as their lot in life. So, hallmarks of deterministic worldview. God controls every event in creation. Nothing happens at random. There is no free will. So you can never throw anything a curveball through free will.
So, on the other side of things, let's say Marty. I know he's here. I don't know. I don't think Julia and Brenda and a couple other heavy commenters are here. But this was what happened. Kobe really over on the Andy Minio. And then in whatever the comment video is coming up after this, we're going to be addressing Kobe. And I like Kobe. And I couldn't become a Christian reactor because of what we're talking about right now. I address it with the cult. I make my jokes and tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff. But what I can't address is that rigid, it's the word, it's the law. No, not if it was canonized the way it was, not if some things are heresy, some things are blasphemy, and some things are problematic to the system. Well, then it's just human bullshit. But they get mad. People get super mad when they hear that. Why? Because what Mark's talking about right now. But it's a big deal. Because if you can't see the hand, the control system, and the will of man in the systems, that's scary. And I'm so inside me is a home for something greater than myself, a will to allow the spirit of the universe in for a personal relationship. We're like this. With that being true, I still know that are cult members everywhere using the idea to enslave themselves further.
There is no free will. So you can never throw anything a curveball through free will. Every event is preordained. Okay? And religionists believe in this. See, I like to say, my presentation is going to piss everybody off. And that's what it should do. Because if you're in one of these forms of belief systems, it represents one form of imbalance or another. So people who believe in government and science are in that left brain imbalance. They're going to get pissed off that I'm talking about that form of imbalance. And then the people who are in religion and the New Age movement, they're in that right form of imbalance, so they're going to get pissed off at that. Good. Let them all be pissed off. The truth will piss you off, and then it will set you free if you accept it. So, all occurrences are preordained. Free will is an illusion. No, you know who just said this in his latest book? Stephen Hawking, who you would think is the most left-brain person that you could think, worships at the altar of scientism, believes the universe is a grand accident, okay, and a mechanized machine, okay? It's like this comes full circle. It feeds off of each other like a feedback loop, these forms of imbalance. He went so far through left brain.
There it is. What we really, it is definitely not one side or the other. It is all the way back to just an imbalance. And then the propaganda and will of the control system helps you focus on the negative sides of these imbalances, none of the strengths. And I think that is the truer statement.
Balance. It's like this comes full circle. It feeds off of each other like a feedback loop, these forms of imbalance. He went so far through left brain imbalance, he's so in the left brain, that he actually developed the hallmark of right brain imbalance, which is that there's no such thing as free will. No such thing. Since it's all a mechanized
machine. And it's there, it's put. But mine is different. It was, I engaged in so much freedom and liberty that I racked up consequences that I regretted. So I moved myself over to a slave think, even though the whole time I was actually a slave, I was technically spiritually free. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, got a little tinglies inside because, like I've said from the beginning, or at least this year, for the past year or so, I think I understand why I'm here. And it's always been for me, myself, and I. On these three, I rely.
Machine, and there's no consciousness, there can actually be no choice. We are actually robots controlled by matter. Hawking believes this. He actually wrote this in his book. He said free will is as dead as God. Okay? And millions of people buy this moron's books, and I'll call him a moron right to his face. There's not a drop of intelligence in that man, and people think he's one of the most intelligent people in the world. You might be one of the most overly intellectual people in the world, but you have no wisdom at all. Zero, if that's how you think. And again, put him in front of me and I'll tell it to him to his face. Okay? Because these people actually believe he's smart. That person isn't smart. He's dumb. He's intellectual, but that doesn't make you intelligent. Okay? He has no part of the big picture. None. Just because you can theorize something and visualize it and calculate it mathematically does not make you an intelligent person. That means you're great at using the intellect. You're great at mathematics. You're great at linear and logical thinking. That does not.
Yeah, my peers think because I have a vast knowledge, a cornucopia of useless knowledge that I'm about something. And then they tell me, oh, that was so good. And I'll be like, yeah, well, I'll thank the manufacturer. I'll thank the piece of equipment. And I tried to teach them that their understanding of it all is not what they think. That's Trivial Pursuit knowledge for a game that doesn't exist because random shit thoughts don't pop up in the game. And my abilities are what? Able to follow directions? That's not a that's literally should be a common sense skill set for everyone who exists. Just follow directions. But we already have this stumbling block set to 350. Well, I don't know how to turn on the oven. This came full circle with a person 15, 16 years old and looked at me and said, I've never swept. I don't know how to use a broom. And I realized if that moment could be true in my own life, it had to be so bad that I can't even comprehend how we got here. So, you know, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I know I'm figuring out shit for myself. Hopefully you'll go back and watch Mark and see what you can get from this for you.
You might be one of the most overly intellectual people in the world, but you have no wisdom at all. Zero, if that's how you think. And again, put him in front of me and I'll tell it to him to his face. Okay? Because these people actually believe he's smart.
Yeah, that's what.
And
I know I'm not. I know I'm just blowing some creative and truthful bullshit up their ass. But to think that it really means something, I don't even... No, there are actual markers, evidence. If I got this shit right, things would change. I wouldn't be here psychoanalyzing myself. I'd be here wowing them with whatever parts necessary to wow them and go to the next level. I'm still afraid of the next level. That sucks.
Person isn't smart. He's dumb. He's intellectual, but that doesn't make you intelligent. Okay? He has no part of the big picture. None.
Okay.
Just because you can theorize something and visualize it and calculate it mathematically does not make you an intelligent person. That means you're great at using the intellect. You're great at mathematics. You're great at linear and logical thinking. That does not make you wise. All right? So, you know, this to continue with the right-brained, imbalanced worldview, since God controls everything in creation, nothing is possible to change. Human beings are powerless to create change. Everything is being made to be this way by God. This is what religionists and right-brain imbalanced people think. So, therefore, why take any action? Action is ultimately meaningless. A big hallmark of the New Age community, because it's a religion. You know, the Course in Miracles. Oh, we just need to accept everything the way that it is, right, folks? Doesn't make a difference if evil is running amok in our midst. No, accept it all. Don't try to change a damn thing. Take no action, just observe. And see how far deeper that gets you into bondage.
Oh, wow. Now this goes back a ways. I think you need to hear that again. And then think about the people that pull out their phones and film atrocities. They're not afraid of what's going on. They're more concerned with capturing the moment, like that's what they're there for. Creepy watcher angels. I don't know. Social media zombies, more accurate.
Doesn't make a difference if evil is running amok in our midst. No, accept it all. Don't try to change a damn thing. Take no action, just observe. And see how far deeper that gets you into bondage. Because that's the best way to get real deeper into chains. Okay? So these are all hallmarks of religious extremism and what I call simply slave think. Because that's what it is. Let's not euphemize anything. Let's call them what it really is. This is Master
and we'll wrap this up very soon. But that, I think, as always, I'm taken aback by how much of my rhetoric aligns with what I learned here. And I have different ways of saying it.
in creation, nothing is possible to change. Human beings are powerless to create change. Everything is being made to be this way by God. This is what religion is. I take any action. Action is ultimately meaningless.
Okay.
A big hallmark of the New Age community because it's a religion. You know, the Course in Miracles. Oh, we just need to accept everything the way that it is, right, folks? Doesn't make a difference if evil is running amok in our midst. No, accept it all. Don't try to change a damn thing. Take no action, just observe. And see how far deeper that gets you into bondage. Because that's the best way to get real deeper into chains. Okay? So these are all hallmarks of religious extremism and what I call simply slave think. Because that's what it is. Let's not euphemize anything. Let's call them what it really is. This is master think, that's slave think.
And on the channel, that has manifested itself with the whole Hallmark card joke analogy that we love to find a better way of putting it all. But when it comes down to it, they're controlled, balanced existence. We fantasize about the balanced existence, but we don't engage in it. I constantly go back to the, what is that one? The Stanford experiment, Stanford prison experiment. Honestly, that's how I filter this. So we've seen it play out. Balanced neutrality is something we are just opposed to. And it's a damn shame. Oof, this was a good one. This was a good start to Tinfoil Hat Tuesday. I don't think there's anything conspiratorial or crazy about this at all. It's just a good day to go there. See you next week.